Marva Collins was born in Alabama, southern United States. She was born in the 1930s. Her father was African American, was black. Her mother was Native American, Indian American. She was born at a time and a place when there was a great deal of discrimination against blacks and against women. Fortunately for her, she had a father who believed in her. And her father said to her from a very young age, "Marva, I believe in you. I know you can succeed. I know you can do well. I know you can become a secretary." Now, why secretary, you ask? Because becoming a secretary for a black woman was essentially the glass, or rather the concrete ceiling that existed at that time. This is what the very best of the black women became, a secretary. Marva Collins was smart, she was hardworking, and she became a secretary, and a good one. After a few years working as a secretary in an organization, she decided that that is not what she was meant to do with her life, that her calling was to become a teacher. She didn't have money for education, so she started taking night classes. It took her a few years until she got her teaching certificate. At that time, she got married and with her husband moved to Chicago, where she joined the public school system in inner city Chicago. A place that, in her words, was full of crime, drugs, and more than anything, hopelessness. The hope that the teachers had for the students was to keep them in school for as long as possible. Why? So that they don't join street gangs at the age of 15, so that they don't start doing drugs at 14, so that the girls don't become pregnant in their teens. Let's keep them in school for as long as possible. Many of the teachers considered the students to be unteachable. Marva Collins comes into this reality and says things can be different. On her first day of class, she says to her students, she teaches first grade to fourth grade. She says to her students, "We are going to do a lot of believing in ourselves." She says, "I know you can succeed. I know you can do well. I expect a lot from you." And she makes them work hard. She tells them, stop blaming the government, stop blaming your parents, stop blaming your teacher. Take responsibility for your life. I know you can succeed. And miracles begin to happen. These students, these unteachable ones, at the age of 10, are reading Shakespeare, Emerson, and Euripides. These unteachable ones, in fourth grade, are doing high school mathematics. Rumors begin to spread about Marva Collins. How could it be that her students are in class all day long, while the rest of the students are running around the school? She must be using some force. This was the 50s and 60s. Marva Collins has enough of these rumors. She leaves the school system, opens up her own school, in her own home, in her own kitchen. Initially with 8 students, 2 of them her own children. Gradually, more and more students come. Initially, all the students that come to her school are public school dropouts. In other words, Marva Collins is their last opportunity, their last chance before the street. As there are more students, she has to move into a hut, a shack in Chicago, freezing in the winter, scorching hot in the summer, but they're driven by their passion, by their belief. And the miracles continue. Every one of Marva Collins' students, with no exception, graduates from elementary school. Every single one of Marva Collins' students, with no exception, graduates from high school. Every single one of Marva Collins' students, of those unteachable ones, goes to university and finishes university. Marva Collins lives in poverty for decades. After all, it's a private school. Most of these children can't pay. They're from poor families. But somehow she makes ends meet, month by month by month, for years. All this changes in 1979, when a producer from the television program 60 Minutes hears about Marva Collins and makes a short segment, 12 minutes, on the miracle of the school. Overnight she becomes famous. A movie is made about her, played Cicely Tyson. 1980, November, she gets a phone call from new president-elect of the United States, Ronald Reagan, who offers her to be his Secretary of Education. So it's like your Minister of Education. He offers her to be his Secretary of Education. So I guess her father was right. But she turns him down and says, "My calling is teaching." 8 years later, George Bush, the father, calls her up, offers her to be his Secretary of Education. Once again, she turns him down, says, "My place is in the classroom." In 1995, a wealthy North American philanthropist gives Marva Collins $100 million. And back in 1995, $100 million was a lot of money. Marva Collins opened schools throughout the United States, where thousands of students come and learn, where hundreds of teachers from all over the world come and observe the miracle taking place day in and day out. This is her book. For all those of you interested in education, if there is one book you want to read, read this. For all those of you interested in parenting, and there is one book you want to read, read this. For all those of you interested in management and leadership, if there is one book you want to read, read this. For all the rest of you, if there is one book you want to read, read this. So what's her message? First of all, high expectations. I know you can do well, I know you can succeed, I believe in you. But it's not detached expectations, it's grounded positivity. Marva Collins would never tell a child with no potential for writing that she's the next Shakespeare or George Eliot. She would never tell a child with no ability in mathematics, you're the next Nobel Prize winner in physics. She finds that seed because every child has a seed, or seeds. She identifies those seeds and then waters it and sheds light on it. Marva Collins tells them, stop blaming your parents, stop blaming the government, stop blaming the teacher. Take responsibility for your life. And when do we know that we have taken responsibility for our lives? When we accept the fact, internalize the fact that no one is coming. That no knight in shining armor is coming, that no princess bride is coming, that no boss is coming who will see my potential. No one is coming. That it's up to me to make the most from my life. And when I accept that no one is coming, that's when I internalize real self-responsibility. That's when I'm ready to truly develop healthy sense of self, healthy self-confidence.